Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about how to draw this Ferrari car on the iPad using the digital painting software called Procreate. I did the intro session in the last video, which I'm gonna post at the end of this video, just to give you an overview about this software. So let's jump right away. To start drawing this kind of realistic car, first we need to break down the image into the different colors that we have in our image. The way of doing that is actually when you like hover with your finger, as you see here, and keep pressing, you can pick the color as you see. So what we need to do is actually we pick the colors that we have and put them aside, as I'm doing now, to actually use them during our drawing. As you see, I'm starting from the darkest one up or lower to the brightest one, because this way is going to be way easier actually to control and use these colors while we are drawing. And the bright one, as you see here. So now, as you see, we started already to have like the variety of the colors that we need in our drawing, which is going to dramatically help us to change and use the colors accordingly and properly. Yeah, so these colors are actually bright, so pretty much enough. So the next step is actually reducing the brightness or the opacity of this image, because we are going to draw on top of it. Yeah, let's call this colors. Yeah, and let's also lock it. We lock this one. Now we start adding layer 1, which is going to be our first layer. Yeah, so the brush I'm using is actually called round brush. We can use too many brushes, but you can actually experiment by yourself to come up with the best brush that might work for your need, you know. But as we are going to draw this car, I would say this like untitled brush might be helpful, or let's see, rounded brush maybe. This is also good actually. Yeah, so first we start with this one, with this color, which is the darkest one, and we reduce the opacity here. Then before starting doing any colors, it's really up to you how do you want to do it, but it's also recommended, like lines, to put up some, like put on your drawing some lines, as you see here, that helps you identify your cars. Like for example, your car, like just like defining the shape of your car, as you see here. Just I'm drawing on top of it actually, not too much, just like to help you understand the shape of your car. It's gonna be deleted anyway afterwards, okay? So these lines, so you can start this way or you can start the other way by actually spreading some color ranges. So I just wanted to show you these two methods. Like this is the first method where you draw lines as if it's realistic paper, yeah, like normal paper. Or the other way is actually, which is also good, is starting with the color ranges. So like for example, without highlighting or drawing any lines, or as you see here, like for example, we have the red color, which is going to be, let's start with the bright one, this one. Okay, I pick this one. Then what I do is actually just like spreading some colors area that actually defines the car shape, as you see. This way, just to give me the shape of the car. And this method will require a lot of layers. You'll see right away. So we also need the black color, by the way. We didn't pick it. Let's just unlock this. Yeah, I think we can use this one. Oh, sorry. Select the colors layer. This is gray. We need something darker like this one. And the dark as well. Yeah, so now we have, as you see, like way too many colors that to start with. So the method is actually going to look like that. Like if I now hide my realistic car, it's gonna be looking like this way. As you see, it just like gives us a rough idea of the car position and the car shape, how it looks like. And using this method further and further will automatically gives you an idea how it's going to look like. And so it's all about adding layers again and again and again. We need something bright as well, like this one for the wheels and rims, as you see. Yeah, I think we have everything now we need. Look, then we go back to color layer, and now we start adding even more layers. But what we need to do is actually reduce this because it's too much. Yeah, like that. Going back to color, and now we need to define the wheels. And the brush is too big. Let me just reduce the size a little bit. Maybe the circle as well. Just tiny bit, okay? Just to give you an idea where what is. Maybe the gray as well. It's just about spreading colors range, yeah? It just gives you an idea where what is. And what is about is actually just adding layers again and again on top of each other. Sorry. As you see, I am also at the same time adding my reflections on the vehicle. And maybe we can add some rims here as the tires, sorry. It's too small, let me just make it bigger a little bit. And the darker, which is this one, the black one, we need it actually for these area. It's way too black. Let me just reduce the translucency a little bit of the brush. Otherwise, it's gonna look way too dark. The same as for this one. This one is brighter. This is darker. As you see, now I'm following the shadow of and the color ranges from the real image from behind, as you can clearly see now what I'm doing. So now if I hide my realistic car, as you see, we started like having the shape of our car and with a little bit of understanding where the light is and so on. So it's all about adding layers more and more and more, and this is actually how you are going to build your car. So if you feel, as the case that I'm facing now, that you are not able to see the car from behind, it means you are on the limit of using this layer, the new layer. It means you need another layer, like a new one on top of it, in order to actually hide this and even deep dive into details and adding more details by doing the following. I will show you what I mean by that. Yeah, like for example, we have here dark area, right? And we have here brighter area. And the same goes for this one. Maybe with this one we can go with this tone. And with this one we need this gray reflection, as you see. Yeah, let me just include this dark color in the layer, in the color layer here. The same as for the gray, because I mistakenly added these three layers in the color layers, so we need them actually here. Here we go. That's more than enough actually. Let me delete these because we don't need these colors from so in this level, in this layer. So now we have all colors here. Okay, now it looks correct. So this is the second layer, as you see here. So this is the first layer that we created, right? With the second color layers that we created, as you see, now I'm starting, see? Now I'm starting to see some details by adding even more layers. And actually this is very much repetitive process. Like now I hid my first layer, let's call it color 2, okay? To make it clear, even for me, because the more layers you have, the more confusing it might get. So now we can now continue adding layers based on the different colors ranges that are used in this car. We need the headlights as well. As you see, we can maybe use the gray one, just a little bit, tiny bit, okay? And don't forget the reflection of the headlight. It's too big. As you see here, I'm really like still not deep diving into adding details into my car, right? So because your shape needs to be built, as you clearly see, gradually, layer after layer on top of each other. And for that one, we need a little bit brighter. You can also increase or decrease the opacity, as you see here, okay? Even the colors here that you picked, you can also reduce the size and the opacity of these colors, which is great help in my opinion. We can make this reflection just as too much, I guess. So let's go with this gray one. So now let me just show you gradually, okay? Color 2. As you see, now we started to see some details and so on and so on. And exactly like that, we move forward one by one. We always consider the light, the reflection, where my reflections are, everything needs to be considered. So, and this way you can build it gradually. And it will look good. If you feel at like certain point that the brush you are using is not super helpful, you can always try to really change or experiment different brushes, because actually this is what I am intending to do afterwards. So I'm not gonna stick with only this very single brush, but this brush like is helpful to just spread the color ranges that I am actually doing now. Then for details, you can maybe pick different one. See, so I'm constantly moving among my image and constantly checking where am I still missing some details, like these ones, maybe a little bit. Oh, it's too hard. Missing this one. Maybe some shadow right here for the glass, the rims as well. It's gonna be like here. So as you see now, I don't really see any more from the read image. So it means this layer also came into the limit. Yeah. So what we need to do is now hide both and create a new layer. Let's call it color 3. It's repetitive task. It's repetitive workflow, and yeah, the more layers you add, the more details you will get and you will have. So it's pretty much like really helpful to really break down your cars first and start adding layers on top of each other. So what you also can do is actually, let me see, you can also pick this finger to maybe just melt these. It's too harsh, let me reduce it. To merge or mix these together, as you see, it actually like mix everything together and breaks this like very ugly contrast, as you see here, see? And this is actually what we need sometimes. Here we go. The same for the second one. The second one has way too much contrast, as you see, but we can also reduce that. Using this tool. or this finger or this hand, whatever you want to call it. So see, now I'm really like start getting the shape and the of the car, including the reflection and shadows and so on. So this way you start or you continue adding your layers one after each other. So now I hid both because I need now new one, because having two both activated, as you see here, like visible, yeah, it blocks me to really see the real image from behind. So it means it's a good indicator to add a new layer now and continue as we were doing. Here we go. As you see here, it's actually like a big reflection we have over here. Maybe we can break it down a little bit, as you see here. Like I'm adding layers on top of each other, which gives me this really nice looking reflection. And we can maybe merge it a little bit, which actually gives us this kind of look. We need more red into it. Here we go. Then a little bit more details over here, including. Now I can start really adding a little bit more details. As you see and notice, I started like zooming in a little bit because I already have my rough color ranges, and now it's the time to really dig a little bit deeper and start adding these details. Like for example, this reflection. Let me make it gray. So this reflection, I wanna really emphasize it and make it clear, because the car-bent physical material, it actually gives you this high reflection feeling. See, now I'm following really the reflection. To reduce the opacity a little bit, including the side mirror. The side mirror needs to be darker, as you see here, from this side as well. We need a little bit of reflection right here, and again this color a little bit brighter. As you see, I'm breaking down the side mirror into different areas. That actually helps me understand the reflection there. See, I'm just following the reflection of the real car, just drawing on top of it, okay? As you can clearly see what I'm doing now. It's all about layer on top of each other, trust me. Once you understand this method, yeah, digital painting, it does sound difficult, but you can master it actually, and you can really get improve it and get better with it. And digital painting offers you way too many possibilities, because you can literally like get or be way too creative, and even until you really find your own style, or your own method, or your own tool even. See? The brush is too small now. To make it bigger a little bit. Too small. So now, as you see here, if we include all layers together, we actually started to see something. Like first we start with this layer, then this one, then this one. See? This is actually how it works. So this is one method of way too many that you can use. It's really up to you, but yeah, this is actually recommended, especially if you are a beginner, because it's just like you are following the real reference. So nothing really will get wrong, because you are following the real reference one by one. And following a real reference, or drawing on top of it, or drawing from it, yeah, one to one, is really not bad idea. It's actually good, because what's better reference than the real reference? This is like the best you can really follow. Even big artists, like really famous artists, uses real references to actually draw from. Like when it comes to, for example, architect or anatomy, or yeah, the best reference that you can have is actually the real life reference. Not only about drawing objects, by the way, even with lighting. So like you can really spend a lot of money to create your own studio, your own lighting setup, yeah, but it doesn't matter how much you try, it won't be as good as like the real sun, or the real the real skylight, because it's actually the best light source that exists. So my point is, you can always use these real life references to improve your drawing, which is fully okay. It's actually recommended, not only okay, it's actually recommended, even for advanced people like me personally. Even though that I have been drawing for very long time, like years, I'm still using real life references, because yeah, these are, as I said, the best thing you can do. You can always, of course, draw from your imagination. There is nothing wrong about that. But yeah, using real life references is also good. And you will learn a lot from it, really a lot. So maybe we can add some more details here. As you see, moving on, we can start adding these details. See, if I hide now I can like clearly, as you can clearly see, now we started to see something, right? The workflow is slow, I know it goes slow, but nothing will go wrong, because you are drawing one to one actually from the real life reference, which is good. So let me add some, yeah, another layer now. We call it color 4. Yeah, to actually work on these. See, yeah, so for the window we're still missing a lot of details, so let's work on that. So we can increase the size of our brush just to move a little bit faster. As you see, the reflection of the glass causes way too many colors and color ranges, and yeah, and this is accurate actually, because this is how glasses real glass behaves in the real life. So you have way too many color. Of course, it depends on the environment where your car is, but yeah, the glass usually causes and generate a lot of reflection and refraction as well, which are quite different things actually. Yeah, I'm not gonna explain in too much details here, but reflection is actually what's when the light hits the surfaces, it causes this reflection. It means like the surfaces, as you see here, the surface shape is not changing. It just like generates a reflection with L, yeah, which is like making some areas a little bit brighter. Refraction is actually caused also by the light source, but refraction is actually like caused by the thickness of the transparent surfaces, which is the glass in our example. And the refraction is actually when the light hits surfaces, it actually breaks the surfaces into two. That's why sometimes if you see like a glass of water, for example, and the light, like artificial light or sunlight, yeah, hits the surface, this glass, it looks like a broken from inside, you know, like it looks like moved like this way. And this is actually the surfaces like are broken into different direction, and this is actually what we called in the real life physical world refraction. And this is actually caused by, yeah, by the light source hitting any translucent surfaces. So some more details a little bit here, yeah. We are not shading yet. Shading is the very last thing I want to do. We can reuse some reflection right here. And moving on, we need this black area as well. And now we move back to our glass to add some more details. As you see, now I'm starting to really zoom in a little bit because I need to get these details out. Moving on. Maybe a little bit of edges here, just to have this feeling, but maybe it can be a little bit in the gray area, you know. It's too much. Here we go. Now we can move to our wheels, but for the wheels I would like to have them in a separated layer. But let's hide our car and see what do we have now. So now we have this. It's pretty accurate in compared to the real reference, and it's actually a really good start. Yeah, then yeah, we move on to the next one, which is going to be the layers for the wheels. Color 5. Yeah, so for the wheel we have some details. Let me maybe just mix them a little bit. Just a bit. I'm gonna add these details afterwards because the contrast is way too much here. Just like this is okay. Here we go. You can reuse the eraser as well. It's also okay. See, just to have this reflection sometimes. I'm using the eraser actually now. Too much. So it's bigger. Here we go. The caliper, also the brakes, needs also to be considered. Yeah, it's not a bad start for the wheels. It's okay. We can keep it this way for now. go. Adding layers on top of each other, one by one. Just some highlight here, as you see. So now is actually not a bad start. So for the wheels, so as you clearly see, now we really start to see something, and the car is like getting built one by one, gradually. We need some more, like the tires here, we missed them, which is also okay, so no worry. The brush is too small. Let me, oh, it's too big now. Something like that. Maybe we can reduce the opacity a little bit, just a little bit more. Here we go. So it's a pretty much good start, I would say. Yeah, these lines are way too many here. As you see, we need to now reduce. We need to select the color. As you see here, because these comes from the very first layer that we generate, which is fully okay. Now we can start reducing these one by one. I'm missing this area, as you see, clearly see here. So we need to also cover this. Let's cover it in this layer. Yeah, something like that, and maybe the black area as well, right here. Here we go. So now let's move the next step, which is actually drawing not on top of the image anymore, but actually from it. So the way of doing it, I will show you in Procreate. It's very easy. Which is actually, there is, if you go to gallery, oh no, this one, actions, then canvas, sorry, canvas, then reference. Once you activate it, as you see, you go to image, import, then you can import this image and even scale it up or down, as you see here. And this is something now we can really like put aside, and you can also zoom in and out. This is like really great feature. And from this point you can actually move on now to adding more details into your drawing, because as you see here, we really came into the limitation where we can draw from the image, but now we need something aside to actually give us this opportunity. Here we go. Now it's complete. And now we can deep dive into adding more details, because now we have the rough shape, and now we can move on. go, maybe a little bit. If you feel like there is a very hard contrast, you can always use this tool, this finger, because actually it gives you that, like this one. Yeah. See, I'm just using it tiny bit. And now to add the details, I'm gonna actually try another brush, not this one, because as you see, this brush is great, but it also has cons. Like as you see, when I start, it starts with a very circle, like the same shape, and I would like to have something start like this way. Start small and you can actually increase it. So this is actually what I'm looking for. Yeah, flat brush is also good. Let's try it out. Will this generate an effect that we don't really need? Let's try something. As you see, you have way too many options you can choose from. This will give us some noise and dirty look. We don't really need it. Water pen maybe? Let's try. No, this will not be helpful. Yeah, medium airbrush. Yeah, actually this one is not bad, but not entirely what I'm still looking for. Just 1 second. Medium brush maybe, or soft brush. Still thick. I'm just experimenting now. Few brushes. Yeah, this might be something. Ink roll. Yeah, I think this is something we can actually use because it gives us this nice look, but it's still dirty because it's actually like a roll, you know. Yeah, let's go. We need something softer. Yeah, let's go with this one. It's called Spectra. Okay, interesting. So now I'm starting, sorry, sorry. Now I'm starting to adding my details, reducing the opacity of my brush constantly, which actually now generate this nice looking area that we need. It's too much. Yeah, it does look good. Then we need this color again. I constantly zoom in and out, yeah? This is always important. We now started to see some details constantly. As you see here, the more I move and add my details, this can be bigger a bit. Oh, it's too much. It's too much, I guess. Yeah, does look good. Don't be afraid of making any mistakes. It's fully okay. You can always use this one actually to reduce some of your hard contrast, as you see here. See, so now we start to really see something. The same goes for this one. As you see, I'm just breaking this contrast a little bit. It's too bright, it's too hard, you know? It needs to be broken down a little bit. And the way of doing it is actually I'm using this small finger. Now, yeah, let's jump into our glass again. Reduce the size of the brush, adding some more details. We need these lines, by the way. These lines need to be visible. In order to do that, we actually need another layer. Let's call it color 6. And in this layer, what I'm going to do is actually I'm gonna add the doors and windows, these layers. See, So these are really needed and they need to be emphasized, otherwise it won't look good. And for that, I'm not going to use the Spectra brush, but I'm gonna use something else. Let's go to Ink, Technical Pen. Yeah, actually this one is better. Because we need these lines to be emphasized, otherwise it won't look good. So the colors might get mixed up together. See, just like quickly. You can take your time, of course, because like drawing very straight lines might be challenging a little bit sometimes. You really need to be like familiar with. Even me, like sometimes I have to undo some lines because they don't look good enough, as you see here. Constantly changing the direction of my painting because it just makes it easier for me to really control. Yeah, especially the headlights, we need these lines, as you see, and for the front part as well. Here we go. This is more than enough. So now I have my like approximately like the rough idea how my lines are going to be. Now I can reduce this a little bit because we don't need them that hard. See, just a little bit. It gives me an idea where my door is, right? So that's what we need from that. Now going back to our new layer, color 7. So yeah, just bear with me. I know this video might be a little bit long, but I really wanted to show you the whole progress and how you can actually manage to achieve this kind of results. Yeah. So the next thing we want to do is actually, yeah, so we can work on the glass a little bit. Oh, come on. I'm gonna merge these together just to break down this very hard contrast. Yeah, this is pretty good. And same as for color 3. And now as you see, I am like let me call it line here just to not get confused. Lines, okay? So it's now recommended to actually merge all together and work on it like as if it's one layer. Why? Because it gives you more control to control all of your layers together and so on. So let's call all of these layers that we create and generate the first phase, and now we are going to finalize our car in the second phase. And as you see, as I did here, you can merge all layers that you need to merge actually by choosing the first one and the second one and just like collapse them together. Then now, as you see, now there are only one layers. I intentionally didn't include the lines with it because I wanted to have the lines in different layer, yeah? But now, if I want to adjust anything, as you see, all of that are one layer. It's just easier to control instead of jumping back and forth and back and forth, yeah? So now let me just duplicate this as a backup. I always do that, by the way, because it's just safer to revert sometimes back to a layer before moving to the next phase, which is the biggest phase, yeah? So this is let's call it backup, yeah, backup, and we also lock it. So now I cannot really touch it or change anything in it. Let's move it down and hide it, yeah. So now we have it actually. So let me duplicate this, because as you see, when I do that, I actually get more colors. The colors are getting a little bit more emphasized. So if I duplicate even more, it gets stronger. So it doesn't harm to do that and merge all together. Now we have this. Now we have this. So now we can move on with our finalization, I would call it, because now we really have to finalize the areas to check where we have a reflection to make it smoother. Like for example, yeah, this is way too messy. We need to organize that. And the way of doing it, I usually do use this. And as you see, it actually breaks this ugly contrast for me. If you feel it's too big, yeah, just reduce the size of it. It actually gives me very nice. See, now, in compared to before, it actually much nicer now. And the same goes everywhere. I just go over and check one area after each other where I'm still having an ugly contrast. I try to break it a little bit, yeah, in a different direction. Like this one, I break it this way. This one, I break it this way, yeah. This one, see? Now we start to really have our cards, and it does look nice and fancy. It's still not final yet. It will get much better. Just bear with me, yeah? I know this session is gonna be long, so bear with me. It's gonna be worth it. Just check one by one how to create this high quality digital art. If you feel that the tool is damaging too much, reduce the opacity a little bit. Then it will damage less, actually. Not damage per se, but actually mix a little bit less with less intensity. See, I'm following. I'm not like randomly damaging, okay, like this way. No, I'm actually following the reflection direction, because it's way too important to keep the reflection of on my vehicle healthy, in a healthy shape. And yeah, do not damage the reflection, as you see here, as I did, without damaging the main shape of the reflection or the color range per se. We need to keep that. As you see here, I'm moving with with the direction of my colors here. Here we go. Do you see what I'm doing now? I'm merging everything together. Without merging these layers together, this would not have been possible, because the colors were separated in different layers, and that's why they needed to be on one in order to be able to really merge all of them and mix all of them, as I am doing right now. You don't want to overdo it, okay? Just like move gradually, okay? Like for example, here I clearly still missing some details, which I'm gonna add afterwards. So now it might be a good time to add it into this one, and we are going to use the spectra back, this one, because as you clearly see, I'm still missing some details here. Oh, sorry, here. Let's go to, of course, don't forget our real reference, okay? We need to keep that. So as you see, I'm clearly still missing the Ferrari logo, which is like way super important. We cannot exclude that, so let's do it. The logo is very important. We need to include that, okay? Let's call it logo, okay? So for the logo, I'm gonna go back using my technical pen. It needs to be black. Here we go. The same as for this one. We need to include all logos, and the same as for this one, which is barely visible, but still visible, by the way. Now we need to change the color to the yellow one. Yeah, this one is okay. Yeah, this is more than enough actually. Yeah. Here we go. So now let's clean up this mess a little bit by just reducing the sorry. just to make it cleaner, because it looks way too messy now, as you see here, so we don't need this. Let's try to use the rounded brush because it gives us this hard cut we need. Oh, it's too much. You have to be careful, okay? Because now we have everything on one layer. And that's what I said by like being careful, because now it's easy actually to damage and like do this by mistake, okay? So be careful. Now I'm just like trying to really clean up. That's all I'm doing. See, it looks nicer now. The shape is healthier. And as you see, clearly see, we are missing this gray area. So we need to add it in, yeah, in the color here. So let's go to this one and brush. Oh, it's too much, too big. It's gonna be actually here. Not entirely, sorry. It's actually gonna be here. My mistake, sorry. Yeah. And now we can just clean up a little bit of this mess, sorry. Here we go. Just cleaning up. And now going back to our main layer. Yeah, to actually mix these together. Just tiny bit, okay? To break any ugly contrast, unneeded ugly contrast that we have. Make it like a little bit calmer, okay? Like for example, this area, okay? This can be actually broken down a little bit. And always follow the shape of your reflection. Don't forget about that. This is way too important. Do you see now this area is really looking nice? Here we go. This one definitely needs to be broken. Just a little bit. The same as for this. That's too much. Let me just make it smaller to have better control. Yeah, it looks good. A little bit bigger. Yeah, so this area is actually nice and not bad at all. Maybe we can, what we can do is actually pretty smart thing like that this software offers. Like you can pick up big like a dark tone, draw it right here as I'm doing, and use this finger now to actually damage it a little bit, just a little bit more. As you see here, it actually creates this kind of feeling, which is really nice. And the same goes for this one. And we break it. Now we break it a little bit again. See, now it actually creates this kind of really nice feeling for us. So always don't forget about your real reference. So here needs to be a little bit darker. As you see, we can also again add some, just a little bit, okay, not too much. Then the finger again. Here we go. See, now we really start to see here by mistake actually created. So be careful, okay, with your pencil. Sometimes you just like put something unintentionally without even knowing, so be careful with that. So the same approach, we continue using it again and again, damaging these like ugly contrast areas to give us this kind of like really nice carbon reflection that we are seeking. Like this, for example, this line definitely needs to be broken down. And once we use this finger tool, it actually gives us what we need. It's really great feature and great tool, in my opinion. And you can do that all over this. See? It's gonna look like oil painting, I know, but it actually looks nice, and you can break afterwards this oil painting feeling by using another brush, using this finger as well. So this is also possible. It's not a big deal. And always remember, you should always follow the reflection direction as you see here, as I'm doing right now. And for the sake of this video, so I'm gonna finish up soon, but yeah, don't forget to subscribe, support my channel as well, which is really highly motivates me to keep creating content and creating new videos that helps you to get or to be a better artist, or to learn new stuff, new techniques, new methods, and new tools. So yeah, please consider subscribing to support my channel, which is really highly appreciated. Here we go. As you see here, wherever you feel that you have very nice, like very hard contrast, you can again break it down and yeah, make it a little bit calmer, you know. Like for example here, I could use some work actually to break down or break this very high contrast in my wheels. This technique is very helpful to draw anything, literally anything you want to draw, because it just like gives you way too many options and opportunities to be creative. And this is specifically also useful for oil painting, that technique that I'm using, which maybe we can cover in the next session by taking a portrait as an example. So I don't think it's gonna be way far from the topic that we are talking about. So yeah, let's try to maybe, here we go. Yeah, talk about portrait in the next session using very similar technique, because I do believe that portrait is really important when it comes to drawing, and especially digital drawing, because there are a lot of really great artists out there that you can learn from. And of course, from my side, I'm also going to show you a few techniques that you can use when it comes to portrait drawing. Yeah, as you see now, we now have a really nice looking car. I just duplicated it to have even more details. Of course, it's not done yet. I can add and refine these shapes as much as I want. But this refining, as you see here, what I'm doing now, refining would not have been possible if we don't have the rough colors, like the whole color ranges correctly and properly from the beginning. What I mean by that, like here should be dark if we compare to the real reference, yeah? Here should be dark, here should be brighter, here should be dark a little bit, which I'm going to add afterwards. Here should be dark, and here the red here is a little bit brighter. We have a higher reflection at that area, we had higher reflection at that area, and so on. If we didn't have this from correctly from the very beginning, it would have been really difficult to come up with this result. So that's why I highly recommend you to follow these steps one by one, because yeah, so nothing will go wrong. You will move step by step, adding or creating or generating or drawing your car or whatsoever. It doesn't only apply for cars, by the way. It applies for literally everything you want to draw, and especially when it comes to digital drawing, it applies to literally anything you want. So this method, because you are drawing one-to-one from the real life reference, and what better reference you can get? So the real life reference is the best reference you can use. Yeah, if it's a portrait or if it's anatomy or cars, architecture, real reference is always the best you can use. Keep that in mind, it's important. Just a little bit damaging here, as you see. I'm really starting to have really nice wheels, by the way, as you can clearly see here. I don't want to damage the logo because the logo is way too important to be really emphasized and clear for everyone, because you know, like Ferrari is very high luxurious brand. So we need to keep the logo undamaged and untouched. Yeah, if you want to add even more highlights, for example, on the wheels, you can go to the white color, reduce the opacity, and this too much. Yeah, for example, go to Spectra, this brush again. Maybe this is too much. Just a little bit of highlight, as you see, and go to the finger again and try to damage it. Increase the damage a little bit, or mix it. I wouldn't call it damage. See, now we have some highlights on our wheels, which actually gives us very nice looking feeling of the metal material. Here we go. So for the sake of this video, I'm gonna stop soon, as I said. So I'm gonna finalize this image on my own using the very same technique. So I'm not going to change anything in the technique at all. So the same repetitive technique, but it's because it's time consuming, as you can clearly see. That's why we can stop right here or soon with this video. And of course you will be able to see the final result at the end of this video after finalizing it on my own. So but I hope you got the idea, you got the kind of like rough understanding how this method works, because it's pretty easy, not too complicated. It's just like drawing one by one from the real life reference and adding layers on top of each other until you really get what you need. So in my own opinion, I would say this method is not really complicated, because you are not really drawing from your imagination per se, but you are drawing one by one to like a real car, you know? So yeah, and now we can compare. It looks really similar. Of course, I'm gonna add even more details afterwards because this is still a little bit messy, so I wouldn't like to keep it this way. So I'm gonna like add even more details. But as I said, for the sake of this video, we're gonna stop right here. You got the idea how it works, how we started. Like if I wanna, like for example, go to video and time lapse, now you can clearly see now what we have been doing at all the video. I'm gonna just like, so we started right, as you see, we started right here. Yeah, so this is how we started, and now this is actually what we have. As you see, it's a huge difference. It's a really great progress that adds up, like layer after layer and so on and so on, until you actually start finalizing and adding more details. As you see, it's really nice here. I like it. And yeah, this method allows you to add as much details and dig really deeper and deeper into adding details more and more, as much as you want. Yeah, even until you really get like 100% accurate. This is also possible, but it's gonna be time consuming. It's really up to you how much details you want to add, or you can just like use it as a rough sketching to really understand the basic shape of your shape and the whole construction of it. And this is also can be applied for it, like this method for, yeah. So I highly recommend it to try it out. Yeah, don't be afraid to make mistakes, especially with digital painting is fixable, everything is solvable. And yeah, have fun, try it out, and don't forget to support my channel by subscribing it. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, see you in the next session. Bye bye.